Hi folks, John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Melior Via. I'm up here today at Immortals Inc. with Mikey.
What's cracking, John?
With that lead in, I feel like we should be talking about a high seas adventure.
Okay.
Right? Given a Kraken.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm a Sea of Thieves connoisseur myself.
There you go.
That's a Kraken-ish game.
But that's not where we're going today.
Okay.
So I've been running a Starfinder 2nd Edition playtest game at home, and that's had me looking at a lot of the Pathfinder stuff.
Yep.
Right? So this book just came in. I was pretty excited to take a look at it. This is the Lost Omens Tian Xia Character Guide, and this gives a whole lot of Asiatic-themed character options for Pathfinder, which can, of course, since they're for Pathfinder, work just fine with your Starfinder 2nd Edition game, too.
Nice.
And there's a lot of stuff crammed into this book. If you're interested in running that kind of campaign, or if you're interested in a couple of the adventures we talked about recently, Pray for Death, or the Ruby Phoenix, right?
Yep.
Fist of the Ruby
Phoenix.
Both of those, if you have picked them up or you're thinking about picking them up, this would be a great book to have on hand because there is a lot of stuff that's themed really well for that. Let me start off, though, or jump back a bit and say there is a huge Paizo creative team that worked on this. Lots and lots of creatives from the writing to the editing to the art side. So tons of stuff, too many people to even think about mentioning. It does cover a huge area. So basically, all the characters here are from the Eastern-themed continent, which is absolutely enormous, right? Every bit as big as the Western-themed continent that we usually think of when we're talking about Pathfinder adventures. It's basically an alternative Asia with dozens of different nations and cultures, huge range of different ecologies and peoples, and a whole lot of stuff, right?
Yes.
Not surprising there. And so the book does open up with a brief overview of the continent that touches on a little bit of the histories, a little bit of the rivalries. I'm pretty sure there is another entire book in the Lost Omens series that's actually devoted to diving into those different cultures. So you don't get a ton of that here. What you get here more is very focused on character options for character creation. Diving right into that, the first chunk of the book is backgrounds, and you get 20 different backgrounds that are all themed well to suit those alternative cultures. Range of standard, uncommon, and rare ones. My absolute favorite is the street food vendor. Right?
Of course.
So yeah, your character grew up basically walking around making street food. And I don't know about you, but my social media reels are constantly filled with people doing all kinds of crazy cooking.
It's always the guy with the ice cream, not letting you get the ice cream, like taking you ever seen those guys where he has the cone and you just can't figure it out? Yeah.
Yeah. Mine tend to be more involving, frying eggs on a griddle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Regardless, I loved that idea as just the background for your character. But anyway, there's a ton of other ones here, around 20, I believe. The next big chunk of the book is Magic in the Spirit World. It starts out opening up onto elemental magic. It talks about the 5-element cycle, which are different than what we usually think of as the Greco-Roman elements. So you've got wood and metal and earth and water and fire, I believe, as the 5. But they also offer alternatives because not every culture over there in this realm uses the same mythology, same philosophy for their elemental magic. So it says, well, you might want to swap this in or this one in, depending on where the people are from. Then we talk about the Zodiac and the draconic champions that are associated with different elements of the Zodiac. And then we get into peoples. And you get an overview of cultures from Galarian that are, ancestries from Galarian that have alternate heritages here. And then we also get into some unique cultures. So you get the Dokaibi Goblin heritage, you get the Hunger Seed Half-Oni heritage, you get the Kijimuna Gnome heritage, the Heaven Scribed and Mighty Fall Kobold heritages, the Chrysanthemum and Peach Child Leshy heritages, the Bakua and Makari Lizardfolk heritage, the Dijang Gandharva Conchil and Liangli Sprite heritages.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I mean, it just keeps going. The Tukumangami puppet heritage, the Palace Echoes Kitsune heritage, the Shimmer Tongue Nagaji heritage, so a Naga, basically. The Samsaran ancestry. So these are a blue-skinned race that are kind of tied into a karmic cycle, kind of Hindu Buddha,
but not Avatar
kind of thing. No, not Avatar. They're normal human-sized for the most part. The Sarangai ancestry, which are basically water buffalo minotaurs.
Okay.
Yeah. The Tanuki ancestry, which are a raccoon people that are characteristically irresponsible and make me want to play Rocket in a fantasy setting, right? The Wayang ancestry, which are basically a culture of netherworld refugees that have moved onto the material plane. The Yaksha ancestry, so they are guardian spirits. And the Yaoguai ancestry, which are awakened objects. It might have been that they were a plant. They might have been a signpost or a fence, or they might have been an animal. But in any case, over time, they have awakened and become sapient. And then we get into archetypes. So these are basically feat chains, right? Essentially. And we have the 5-Breath Vanguard, which is an elemental martial artist. The Strategist Martial, which is a martial dedication variant. The Spirit Warrior. The Starlit Sentinel, which is kind of a Zodiac-themed archetype. The Fan Dancer, which just seems really cool.
It does.
The Wandering Chef. So I think your street vendor might then become a wandering chef.
That could be dangerous with the kitchen
knife. It certainly could, right? I mean, and then you got to go for the Guy Fieri theme.
Yes.
Right? Unquestionably.
Spiky hair.
No question. And sunglasses.
Yes.
Inexplicable. But they do also get into cooking rituals and alchemical food tied into that Wandering Chef. So it looked really cool and a lot of fun. There's a section on elemental medicine, Tian innovation. So basically magical technology kinds of things that are unique to the cultures that presented here. A whole section on wushu and qingyong. If I say wushu, does that mean something to you?
It rings a bell, but not the biggest bell.
Basically aerial martial arts.
Oh, yep.
Right. Flying.
Was that talked about in Fist of Ruby Phoenix or no?
I think it was definitely touched on.
Okay.
Then the Cultivator of Ki. So a character that basically relies on balancing their ki energies, and the Familiar Sage. Then we get a section that covers a whole lot of feats that are tied into martial arts specialties. So basically unarmed combat type stuff. Then companions and familiars. So we get some companions and some familiars that are, again, Asiatic themed, and a whole chunk of equipment and magic items. That is an awful lot of stuff that is packed into this 136-page book. Like all Paizo products, pretty much, we've come to expect. It is a hardcover book. It is full color throughout. It is pretty lavishly illustrated throughout the whole book. Lots of cool artwork. 136 pages. And the unusual price of $47.49.
Nice. What kind of checks and balances?
Clearly there was an accountant involved in coming up with that number, right? In any case, we've got it up here at the shelf at Immortals Inc. or hit us up at immortalsinc.com. Whole lot of options, really great ways to theme your campaign, especially if you're looking at those adventures we talked about previously.
Very well said, John. Go check it out. It'll be great for those campaigns we've talked about in the past already. And I'll see you guys next time.
Till next time, folks. Good gaming.